Yeah.
Okay. Right. So this session will be recorded for future references. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Right. So I believe that we have given you like a list of questions to prepare beforehand. So we're gonna start with the first one. What do you plan to achieve for your department during your time as a director? You can start with the business development and move on with entrepreneurship.
Okay. I actually read through the questions, and I think first and second questions are kind of similar. Can I just like combine both of them?
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So for business department, I'm planning to combine the case interview workshop and the spring consulting project into a whole series of projects. Cause we find out that in case interview workshop, students seems like didn't take it very seriously, and we believe that by combining it with the spring consulting project, students will take it more seriously and the turnout rate might be better. And also we can include a series of talk relating to consulting project so that it will be quite clear at that case interview workshop is just for the interview and there is no other things going on, so students can focus more on. And it's possible that we can also invite a consulting company to collaborate with us, because when we pitch to the speakers, right, they tend to ask us like, oh, do you all want us to take in students as internship or provide them a job opportunity when we are conducting the workshop? So I definitely see there's a space for us to collaborating with consulting companies and giving our participants more opportunities. And for corporate innovation challenge, because this is the first year one, and if it goes well, I think definitely we can reach out to more companies and have more options or more corporate innovation challenge next year, collaborating with different types of companies. Yeah, because I think that's like a very good opportunity for students to understand the industry better with some hands-on experience.
I see.
Yeah. And I think that's all for business department right now. And for entrepreneurship department for CHIPTA, because I'm currently part of the CHIPTA project as well as a participant. And from what I've experienced right now and like feedback from my teammates, I think we do have the tech workshop in the beginning, but it was like kind of short, and I think they go into deep quite fast, and teammates with like no experience find it very hard to catch up. And I think if possible, maybe we can collaborate with tech department, saying how we can adjust the course or start it earlier so that and drag it longer so that students can actually dive into it step by step, if that's possible. The CHIPTA project, maybe we can move the time if possible, because if we are thinking of providing Malaysian students to take part as well, this is the time where they have their final exam. So Malaysian students that tend to find it hard to take out time to collaborate, especially if you have teammates from like UK and Malaysian university. They might be difficult because we have like different assessment point. So it's either I'm thinking maybe separate into UK part and Malaysia part, or we can adjust the time to have a better time frame. This is just my general thought about it.
Okay, so if you were to change the timeline, when do you actually suggest?
I'm thinking about summer time.
Summer for Australia, I think it would be exam as well, isn't it?
I'm actually not too sure about Australia.
It's okay. Right.
Because I know Malaysian university, they follow UK like holiday as well. Like around the time, basically.
Yeah, correct. Okay, so anything else to add on for entrepreneurship?
Right now, not really, but I was thinking, I'm not too sure, but like the startup process that we provided, our mentor did mention that it's like oversimplification. We just had I just had a quick talk with my mentor, but we didn't dive into really deep. So I was thinking if uh, I'm, if I'm thinking of the entrepreneurship department, maybe have a talk with like mentors, like with a lot of startup experience, and then hear about their thoughts, what they think about our startup program, like our arrangement.
Sorry, so you think that the mentoring session that you've had was was too basic, is it? Like,
No, our mentor was fine. He's
mm,
experienced, but he didn't dive it deeply as well. But he just said something along the line that I think these stages are like oversimplified of how students should look into when they are um, building up their startup company. Because
mm.
this is actually my first time taking part as well, so I didn't have much thoughts, and yeah, I definitely didn't know what he actually means about it. But I
I
think it
see.
would be good like to have a talk with him and see about his ideas and opinions.
Okay. Yeah, but you should definitely bring that up to your mentors directly because we don't intervene with like your communication between you and your mentor. So there's only this much that we can you know intervene. So yeah, but we definitely take that into account. So moving on to the next question. So you expect what do you expect to do during your like for the position that you've applied for? So you can start with business and move on to entrepreneurship.
Mm. So, as a head of the department, I will expect myself leading and overseeing the preparation of all the events. So, communicating with the other head to see how is there any innovation part that we can bring in the new coming year. Mm, and also maintain good relationship with the department advisor and see what is the advisor visions of like what they is there any new idea or suggestion they would like to bring into IQ, or is there any connection or opportunities they would like to implement and given to IQ committee and participants, and also communicate with our the officers and make sure that they are keeping on track with the events and see if they need help or not. Also sharing our experience as a official officer to our next year officer so that this can help them to better prepare for the event.
Mm. Okay. For entrepreneurship.
For entrepreneurship, I'm expecting a similar job scope, but what's on top of that is need to communicate with more startup founder and have their opinion and ideas towards our program that's if that's possible.
Okay. Right. So I'll pass it on to Samantha.
Okay. Um, yeah, okay. So my question would be, what other commitments, do you see yourself having in the coming academic year? So besides your studies and IQ, do you have anything else that you're committed to in the coming year, if you can predict that?
Um, yeah, I'm currently part of my university fintech society as a legal representative. So for that role, I'm in charge of producing a law report weekly and also perhaps organize 2 to 3 events per year. That's the confirmed commitment that I have right now. And what I'm applying is for our university law club, but that wasn't confirmed yet.
Okay. I just wanted to ask, like do you think that you can, because you're going to your second year next year. Is that right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, do you think that with all the responsibilities, you can you can juggle IQ and everything else in your life? How do you plan on going about that?
I think that's okay. I mean, like seeing my commitment in multiple society in first year, as well as taking out my academics. Yeah, and I think I'm still able to handle it because usually I split my timetable into blocks. So yeah, I I guess for now I don't see a
Okay.
problem of handling it.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so my next question would be, how many directors do you think your department needs? So you can talk about business first. So how many do you think how many directors do you want to work with, and entrepreneurship as well?
I think for business departments, eight officers would be a good amount. And splitting it into two projects, 4 and 4. So 4 for consulting, and if we are combining case interview and consulting together, and 4 for corporate innovation challenge. Since I say that I'm aiming to expand the corporate innovation challenge, so that 4 officers focus on one, and the other 4 focus on another one from the beginning.
Yeah. What about directors? So let's not think about officers, more people that you work with directly.
I guess one more director is good enough for business department.
Okay. Well, so you would say you're talking about UK side, right? So one more director for UK. Is that right?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's
Right. Do you have any idea about entrepreneurship?
entrepreneurship. I'm thinking about like one more from UK is good as well. But
So how many in total, you'd say?
like in total 2.
Okay. Okay. So 2 UK directors.
Like one UK director, and if we can have like one person in charge from Australia department as well, it will be good to know like what the Australian side would expect. Cause I'm not familiar with like Australian university and the environment there.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, just because the Australia side and the Malaysia side, they don't have like regional. I mean departmental directors. So in terms of like, there's no business, entrepreneurship, and tech department. It's more of just a P&E director as a whole. But yeah, that's something that you can talk about with if you become a director with your future directors. But yeah, okay. I guess my last question would be, well, I understand that you worked with a few people before, but who do you see being, the global chairperson or even the head of region of IQ for the next term?
Actually, just among the people I know only Jinxing apply, but I think she would be a good fit for this role through my collaboration with her during the CIC project, because she seems like she has lots of ideas and is quite open-minded in listening up to us as well.
Okay. Right. So now I'll pass it back to Jess. She will just ask you a little bit more about entrepreneurship related role, just because she just left a little bit early. Yeah.
No, I'll pass it on to Eric first. So actually, you can actually like nominate yourself for the global chairperson. You don't really have to nominate other people. Like for the questions now. Right. Okay. It's okay. I'll pass it on to Eric now.
Okay, so sorry, Jess, are you going to leave earlier?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, as just said, and also Samantha just now asked you, right, like, who do you see fit as global chairperson? Yeah, it's quite good that, you know who is applying, you definitely, you know the opponent, and yeah, you actually know what good in is her doing and all this. But yeah, let's say if okay, so I'll continue on that question. So let's say if you and her were to apply, right, and yeah, obviously you're also applying for that, right? What would you say I mean between you guys, what's the main difference? Like which part do you think it's her strength, and which part do you think it's your strength?
Just give me a second.
No worries, no worries. Because you previously you are talking about you did work with Jing Xin, right?
Yeah,
Which kind of project did you work with her?
CIC project, because it's just like
Mhm.
recently.
Oh, okay.
So okay, I can't really talk much about her because like it's just
Mhm.
like recent collaboration.
Mhm.
But
Sure.
like from like the short period of us working together, I think I'm like more approachable compared to Jinx, comparing like more approachable. So still people might be um willing and able to approach me, sharing their
Mhm.
opinion, and I'm also open-minded in listening to others' opinion, and also like able to make decision as well, even though like I'm able to open myself to other opinion at the same time. I think I also had a very good communication skill, because I understand that as a global chairperson, you have to interact with external stakeholders. So I think good communication skill is very important, and also
Mhm.
your own image is very important for IQ as a whole as well.
Mhm.
Mm.
So okay, so yeah, you are talking about you are you are approachable and all this. So if I were to ask you like one good thing about Jing Xin, what would you say? What would you say she's good in?
I think she is very creative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
In terms of.
creative in terms of like coming up with like ideas. Like she might come up with like very creative ideas, like compared like
Mhm. So would you say would you say you would prefer to work with her, or you would say you two can't work along together? I mean like in terms of this recent collaboration, right? Would you say yeah? Would you say you would like to work with her, in long term, or do you think both of you can't really work together?
mm, I think it's possible for both of us to work together, honestly. Yeah, but I guess everything like you need a longer term to actually
Mm-hmm.
sorry, to actually determine whether two persons can really work well together. But for now, I don't see what's wrong with working along with her.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're also saying it right. You need long term collaboration. Then only you can know what's how the person work and how compatible you guys are. So okay, yeah. I think that's for this who is this suitable for this global chairperson thing. Actually, this is just a like an out of topic question. So don't really worry about don't really worry about it. And another thing I want to ask you, so because you apply for a global chair, right? So can you let me know what's the your motivation for you to apply on this? Why would you apply for this position?
Uh, First one, cause like I think
Mm-hmm.
like three departments that has their own like fun things. So as a
Mm-hmm.
global chairperson, I'm able to involve in multiple departments activity, even though not as in depth, but like
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to like maybe contribute and in like multiple events, and also interaction with people from different regions like Malaysia and Australia. This is able I'm like being a global chairperson, I'm able to like communicating with like and interacting with students from different regions, and I'm also able to like interact with external stakeholder like sponsor of like IQ. So like definitely get to understand like outside world better and so have more exposure.
Okay. So let's say if you are just you're saying interact with external stakeholders and all these kind of things, right? So besides all these things that you covered just now, what would you say about the project and event side? You know. Hello, am I lagging?
Sorry, do you mean
Oh,
that a role as a global chairperson in project and event side?
yeah. So yeah, just now you say your motivation to apply is because of all this stuff, right? How about the project and event side? Do you have like any new ideas on what do you? Okay, so to make it simple, what do you see about the current situation of this project and event for business, entrepreneurship, and technology? What do you think? Is there anything that should be changed?
Oh, yeah. I do have a few idea for like
Mm-hmm.
different departments.
Mm-hmm.
As I mentioned just now, I'm not sure if you were here.
So sorry.
So for
You can
business,
just briefly, yeah, you can just briefly say about it.
oh yeah. So for business departments, I'm thinking of combining case interview workshop and the spring consulting project to make it into a whole series of
Mm-hmm.
projects. So it's like continuous, and you can have like case interview workshop collaboration with companies to provide participants opportunity, and the similar spring consulting projects and even talk related to consulting, and also expand corporate innovation challenge if possible. And for entrepreneurship department, it's like collaboration with tech department, see how the tech workshop can be structured better for beginners, and also the timeline for chapter, see how it can fit better and try not to clash with students like final exams so that they can better involve. And for entrepreneurship department, I was also thinking maybe you can invest a podcast or newsletter, um, something along this line
Mm-hmm.
about like people maybe startup stories.
Actually, it's a good thing that you mentioned about podcast and newsletter because I feel we are doing that. It's just that it's still on the initial stage, so it's not really promoted well. But yeah, it's a good thing you thought about content production. Okay, so yes, I can hear. Yeah, another thing it's about this. Yeah, so let's say if you were to be a global chairperson and you have a conflict between two and three of your global directors, how would you know how should I say this? Yeah, so if let's say if I'm giving you an example. So let's say if an entrepreneurship global head and business global head they kind of don't really like to work with each other, or they have conflict between each other, or even entrepreneurship global head and his or her own director, they don't really work together, they don't really work well together. How are you going to solve this kind of issue?
Um, I think first of all, I would actually talk to each
Mm-hmm.
the person who have conflict, like individually. So
Mm-hmm.
talk to them individually and see what's actually the conflict about, and like is there any misunderstanding between the parties. So communication will be the first step, and see how I can intervene. So after I understand the situation, and if possible, I will then put everyone together, and we can have a talk again about it, and I can be like mediator, like between the parties.
Mm-hmm.
and and actually like perhaps like from a third person point of view, talking about their conflicts and like what's actually going on between them would be very good.
Okay, so let's say if you were to do this, if you were to be like kind of the middleman on doing all this stuff, but ends up things still the same, they still don't work well together. What's your next step?
Mm,
Okay, so both of them. So let's say just on the example I gave you. So you can just think of a global head of entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship director. So both of them don't really work well, and after you communicate with them through a few discussions, they are still not working well together. They still don't like to work with each other. But both of them, they are capable of doing things. So how are you going to solve these things?
I guess it really depends on like which stages of conflict they are really up to. But they are if they are on a like very it's still quite mild and projects are nearby, definitely have to ask them to keep working on. Oh yeah, maybe like they are not going well together, but make sure that they are done with their job scope if if the events is coming out, because like that's the most important thing for the projects to go well first, and then only come back to that conflict to solve it.
Would you say, let's say, would you say you would go for the option on, changing this director to another department?
I guess that's only necessary if the conflict keeps going on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
I guess also need to see like which types of conflict they are in. If it's about like events, like they have different idea and they can't tolerate with each other, or like it's about the like working style.
Yeah, I think what you said is pretty good because you did consider on, you know you need to talk to them first, and then later on you said about you're going to focus on the project and events, which is all these are valid points. Which often case conflict is one of the important thing in conflict, and communication is one of the important thing in IQ. But if there's any project and events that is coming up, or any initiative that is coming up, that would be your first priority. So you have to focus on that to make sure it's going to still go. Because if you are going to focus on your conflict, you definitely can't, the project and event stuff, or the event that is coming up wouldn't go well if no one is doing that. Yeah, so you need to make sure that you make outsiders, make not iCube committee members, or even your own iCube committee members, even your own officers, to look iCube as a organization that have not really much problem on that. Yeah, of course, this kind of problem often case you can solve it through a few times of discussion. But uh if this thing you can't really solve, what I would say will be a good option is that changing he or she into another department, or probably you desperate measure would be making one of them leave. Because often in case, if two of them can't really work together, and you still put two of them together for long term, ends up the whole department will become a mess. Yeah. So okay, so my last question to you is about let's say if you step let's say this might be a worst case scenario. So let's say if you were to step up as a government chairperson, and we had appointed all of the directors, like government heads, onto their own position, and you guys started to work around April. Yeah, you guys will be working around April to the next year April. But somehow around January, sorry, not around January, but somehow around summer break, which is during June, July, August, all this kind of period, let's say one of the government head, he or she is not really working. How would you do, how would you solve this thing? And if after a few, let's say, because just now you said you are going to talk to her and talk to he or she, right? So let's say if after 1 month talking to this guy or this girl, but things still don't change, things still stay the same, what will be the next step you're going to do?
Um, I guess like one policy that can implement is like kind of like three strike or two strike policies, and this can kind of force all the director to work and make sure they take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that can talk, because the person is a global head, can talk to the region head, see about their opinions, and like, and I guess if possible, or like the global head really don't do anything, and the region head is willing to take up the role, it's possible to promote the region head as a global head.
But which region you are going to promote? Because we have UK region, we have Malaysia region, we have Australia region, and each region they have head.
But Malaysia and Australia don't have departmental head, right?
They don't have, no, they have directors, but yeah, Malaysia. So for this project and event, for Australia and Malaysia, they only have project and event director. But for UK, we have entrepreneurship director, business director, and tech director. So you are saying head of region or this departmental head? Because I thought you are saying head of regions.
So I'm talking about the departmental global head and their head of region, their head of department.
Yeah. So okay, so let's say if you are going to choose from one region, which region you select, and why would region?
Um, I guess I will start with UK first, because UK is the most established branch, and then like UK director, they promoted as from like the officer might have like similar experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Your justification is quite valid, which is UK, because UK we have been establishing IQ for quite a few years, and it will be a suitable thing to get someone. You also do want to consider the capability of of the person. So if somehow Australia or Malaysia, they have better, more capable, so you might want to consider them. You don't really just want to look on because UK did this whole thing for quite a long time. Because in iCube, I believe if we were to really want to move forward, we need someone that is capable, but not just someone that had been in iCube for a long time. Which, yeah, often case you might want to consider those who are capable first, rather than those who did quite a long time in iCube, know how iCube works and all this stuff. Because know how iCube works, and know how know iCube operation doesn't mean that he or she is really capable on taking any strategic role or even director role. Yeah, and okay, so just now I want to ask you all these questions, right? One of the reason is because just now, because you were mentioning your motivation to apply is because you can communicate with external stakeholders, learn from few departments, and I think one thing you miss out is that all these I would say human management stuff in IQ. So because if you were to go for the global head, sorry, not global head, but global chairperson, you might also want to consider on all these human management stuff. So yeah, it's quite it's I would be honest to you, sometimes you had to deal with all these human management stuff, which it will take some of your time out, but yeah, you definitely need to address all these things, because this is also one of the main thing that makes Psychic move forward, because you need a good team. You don't want your team to have conflict within each other. You don't want your team to uh, don't do anything. And if often this case happen, what you would I would suggest you to do, even if you as a director, this happened to your officer, or even you are a global head of director but not the global chairperson, you definitely need to set yourself, give yourself a period to to settle all this problem. But if this problem is still continuously happening, then you might probably want to take some action on that, because you are working in iCube, or you are in iCube for just a year. You're not working in iCube for 5 years, for 6 years, just a year only. So you don't really, although it looks long, but you actually don't really have much time on on dealing with all this stuff. So you might want to reduce all this unnecessary wasting time on unnecessary doing all this kind of stuff. But yeah, so I think that's for the question I want to ask you. Not really much. Like, should I give back just or something?
Right. So that's all.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You have to go for the tech consulting, right?
Yep, yep, yep.
Okay. We can move on to
So see.
So we move on to the entrepreneurship departmental question now. Okay, so since you're part of CHIPTA, would you like briefly tell me about the structure of CHIPTA? Like what period, the 8-week period is like, what are the things that entails?
You mean like the current structure?
Yeah.
So like first step is like brief introduction to startup as a whole, and second stage I would like the business model Canva development, and also like students skill, like building up students skill, like for example like the tech workshop, and also how to coming up with BMC, business model Canva. And for later stage I think it's prototyping, so it's more on like the also skill development, but it's actually coming up with some things that you might be like launch or like a very brief idea of your products, and then final stage would be pitching.
Right. Yep. So do you think that CHIPTA should continue next year, or should we replace it with something else?
I think we should like definitely like keep organizing CHIPTA, as like it is really a good opportunity, especially for Malaysian students to have like actual experience in how to build up the startup. Because I guess especially in Malaysia, there are little opportunities for students in experiencing this kind of project.
All right. So how do you think that CHIPTA 2022 can improve?
Mm, okay. I guess that except for like what I have mentioned just now, perhaps you can have a series of talk related to startup in different field. Because I know like in a registration form, you can choose like which kind of field you are interested in. Like in the registration form, like you can say like IoT and agriculture, etc. But maybe we have a series of talk in each field, and like give students an insight into like how each field actually works in startup, and also yeah,
Anything else?
and let's have an interview series with entrepreneurs, and also like government departments, see how they can support us. Because from my understanding, I think they have some scheme that available for students in like specific startup field. Like I think fintech is one of them. So if it's available next year, you can try to approach this department, how they can collaborate.
How do you want to collaborate with the government body?
I'm actually like not too sure how it works, but like I think they can provide like financial support in a later stage, of course. So for example, invite them to our final pitching and then definitely if they think our students project is good enough or has a potential in developing, they might just need more like experience and need more specific mentorship, then they can definitely invest in this project and like direct our students group to specific another specific organization, another specific group of people that can help them with building up their stuff.
Okay. That is all from me. I'll pass it on to Samantha. Sorry that I have to take my leave first because I have something else going on. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for your time. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll just ask you a little bit more about like the business department and like your goals for it. So, you know, I think in general, like what I want to ask is like, what do you think like the business department, like what's the main purpose of it, and how do you think do you think like right now at this point, are we effectively, um, fulfilling that purpose, and like what is our current initiative that's fulfilling that purpose, and if not, yeah, what do you think are like besides if our whole purpose isn't, if we're not doing whatever our purpose is about, so what do you think could be done better?
I would say like business department as I mainly provide students hands-on experience in like different field. That's how I interpreted it. Like from the consulting project to case interview workshop. Because like consulting project provides students to actually work on the case and in consulting industry, and our upcoming case, our upcoming CIC is like provide students an insight into the banking industry. So I would see business department as a whole, as in like provide student hands-on experience and actual insight into how the working life would be like in a specific industry.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you're very, very close to whatever the business department is all about. I think as coming in as a director, like you need to define that, and you need to make sure that whatever you define the business department, it aligns with IQ's main goal, and at the same time, any of the initiatives. I think one of the hardest part of being a director is like setting down the strategic pipeline, right? So I guess once you set that down, all the initiatives should flow easily after. So what you said was correct, and essentially what our idea of the business department is that we want to provide opportunities for students to be able to solve problems, so to solve business problems, and to be innovative in that way. So that's why the consulting project comes in. It's not although a lot of people think that it's just for consultants and people who want to go into consulting. That's not exactly the case, because yeah, those experiences gives you a chance to solve business problems, and that works as well for CIC. You are solving a business problem for the corporate company. So also next year, if you're a business director and if you feel like this vision works, yeah, you can carry it on, because at the end of the day, we want to support IQ's main vision, which is entrepreneurship mindset, and all of the business business problem solving all kind of fits into that. So yeah, that's that. Then maybe I want to ask you, can you name me one challenge that you think our main flagship event is the consulting project? I mean, CIC will be in the future, but for now, as you mentioned, the consulting project and the case interview is our main initiatives. So can you name me one challenge that you think those initiatives face, and how you think you can overcome it?
I guess for case interview would be like liaising with the mentors, like with our mentors, because definitely like different mentors has like different working style and interview style, and also depends on the mentors contribution level. Some might not like be as active as the others in contributing to our case discussion and like how to building out the case, and then to like standardize how we want to conduct the workshop. Yeah.
Okay. Right. And I think you also mentioned just now that one of the improvements that you want to make is for us to collaborate with consulting companies, right? And I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, even in the past, I've always wanted to, like, our main idea is that for the consulting project or the case interview study even, that we collaborate with like a consulting company. And that sounds like, oh yeah, it's a no-brainer, right? Like, it makes sense, but it is often very hard. I mean, we've been trying to do that for years, it's very hard to secure, you know, a consulting company as a whole to be our mentor. You know, just because they cannot commit to our society, and we are essentially not a consulting society. So a lot of times people would rather, commit to some other some other consulting societies, and that's why we get like individual mentors from different consulting companies, because that kind of works. And so I guess it's just something for you to think about, and like how you can overcome that. And because like, you know, you said like you want to offer internship opportunities through like the consulting project and the case interview. Yeah, I mean, for sure, I also think that that would be a good idea. I guess there's just a few challenges here and there, as in terms of if you work with mentors individually from individual companies, they don't exactly have the power to hire those kind of people to be in their to be an intern in the first place, right? So maybe you can think about how you can overcome that as well. But yeah, maybe one thing for I can let you know as well. For like, just say for the consulting companies, so you know, the clients that we engage, so like Natto and like Shopee and all those kind of stuff, sometimes they do offer internship opportunities for the students. And well, a lot of times I feel like it's just because they're really impressed by the students' performance, and they're like, okay, I think I want to take you as an intern, but it's not, there's nothing fixed. So maybe you can think of like how we can use that, how we can potentially make it fixed, or potentially like try to get a agreement with those companies, so that, you know, this in a way can kind of bring in the best talents as well. And yeah, it's just good. I guess it's just good branding for us. So maybe that's something you can think about. Yeah, okay. So maybe my next question for you would be, you know, yeah, I guess why are you what is your purpose in, you know, becoming a business director, or even, you know, a director of IQ as a whole, because you did apply to a few roles. And yeah, what do you hope to achieve after you leave this role? Yeah.
Like, cause I think like IQ as a whole, like the organization, I like the objectives of IQ, and I hope like I can contribute to this with my own ideas, and that's like my main motivation when I applied for director role. Like, and then for like business specifically, like, cause this year I'm in business department, and like I actually think that like the projects that we are running is very beneficial. So I guess it would be good that if I can continue to contributing to it next year, and hopefully like be able to bring up some new idea or like innovative aspect into it, and like skill it up.
Okay, then what do you think, what do you think are like traits that a business director should have? And what do you think that, you know, you fulfill all those traits, or do you think there's anything else that you can improve on to get in this role? Yeah.
I think like one of the aspect that I need to improve is like the creativity aspect, cause like cause like there's like kind of like a space and like range for each of our project, like how it can works. So being more creative definitely will help improve our current initiative.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, I guess the last question would be okay, maybe can you name like 2 challenges that you faced while you were in the business department, and, you know, what have you learned from the experience, and how, you know, do you see when you are a director, how would you do it differently to make sure that, you know, this problem doesn't happen again?
Two challenge. I think one, like the first challenge, I would say is like definitely like at first when I was leading the team in preparation for case interview workshop, that I wasn't firm enough in making decision, and I'm definitely like trying to work on that. So like being like, as I said just now, being an open-minded at the same time, being able to make decision, because sometimes like people might not give you feedback might not give you as much input, then as a leader, you have to just evaluating your own decision, and you think, oh, that's right, then just say, okay, goes ahead. I think that's the one aspect. Yeah, the second aspect I will be like, I still think like the issues I face like in CIC is like coming out with like creative ideas for like the challenges. So perhaps I can look through more other like business case competition or events out there, and like looks through like what people are organizing and like what they are implementing, and see how we can fit that into our event.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think I got what I need. So I guess by the end of the day, after this interview, like, your preference will still be, is it still yeah? So what are your top 2 roles, and has it changed? Can you just like tell me like what are your top 2 roles that you want for the directorship?
You mean for between the 2 departments?
Yeah. So just like I guess like explicitly tell me like, oh, I want a global director, business director, or a regional business director, or things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer like being the global director.
Okay. Business director, correct?
Yeah.
So that's your first choice, is it? Okay. What about global chairperson? Like, which one? How would you rank global chairperson vs global business director?
Yeah, I guess I would prefer global chairperson as opposed to like global business director.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, I think I got everything I need. So thank you so much for your time. We will let you know, by 2 day in 2 days time, literally. And so yeah, just check your emails. And yeah, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
No worries. Okay, bye.
Bye bye.